And we'll talk to a man who arrived in Texas with $40 in his pocket and turned it into a multi-million-dollar manufacturing corporation. We'll talk to Don Shapiro. First, let's meet the local man who wrote his story. For a dusty border town, El Paso, Texas is home to a disproportionate number of very successful entrepreneurs and major manufacturing corporations. Today, we're going to talk to the biographer who created this, Power at the Pass, the Don Shapiro story. And for those of you who don't know, Don Shapiro started Action West Jeans, arrived in El Paso with $40 in his pocket, and turned it into a multi-million-dollar corporation. Joining me now is Valentin Sandoval. Valentin, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure's mine.
Okay, before we get to this wonderful book, which is an incredible story, we're talking about a man who literally $40 in his pocket, arrived and made success. Of course, his family includes Carl Reiner, and we've got connections to Jerry Seinfeld. But let's talk a little bit about you. So when you were in high school, were you like the writer? Did you produce the paper or something like that?
Not at all. Not at all. I went to 5 different high schools. In the 90s, I had a unique life story where I was jumping around, just trying to survive with my mom, trying to find her footing on where to live and all that. So far from it, I was not involved in theater and writing and anything of that nature. I was just a dude trying to survive high school.
So you survived high school, and then you went to UTEP.
I did.
That's when the juices started flowing. But your original love was not writing. What was it?
It's filmmaking. I went to study. I was trying to study aeronautical engineering so I could get myself a beautiful, Mexican wife and a nice home in Current Place, sort of West Side.
Aeronautical engineering will do that, but
yeah.
the creative.
But then I realized
creative juices sucked you in.
I had to learn how to spell that first, so I left that, and I wanted to make movies since I was a kid. Ever since I saw Mean Streets with Scorsese and young Spike Lee's work, I thought, oh, that's what I want to do with my life. But I thought it was as difficult as going to the moon. You won one of the first awards at UTEP. Yes, in 1996, Cynthia Farah gave me and a friend of mine the award, Ramon Villa, for independent filmmaking, and at that point, all the movies were not going to New Mexico like they are now in Albuquerque and Santa Fe because of the tax rebates. They were coming here to maximize on lack of a union and lower cost of wages, and so I got to experience major Hollywood productions in my late teens, early 20s, and that pretty much molded my future. Okay, so how in the world did you become connected with Don Shapiro and write his epic story? Well, for one, I think they're pretty. Even though I was a filmmaker, I think the reason why I was nurtured by Cynthia Farah, a professor, was because she saw an innate storytelling ability in me, and that's really filmmaking is just about visual storytelling. So I went on this lifelong journey working on major movies, and I'm talking about PA work, not sort of low, bottom of the totem pole work, and moving on up, and then working I even worked in television. I did documentary work. I went to Albuquerque. I went to Austin. I worked with some really key people up there, and it was just a journey of being around a lot of maestros, and my writer friend in Albuquerque has won the Wogenstein, the Faulkner, the American Book Award. So I've been around a lot of great writers. You don't do work with Don Shapiro without hitting it off. You clicked. Oh yeah, and indeed, I was my first book had won me the Southwest Book Award, which is a story of my mom raising 40 kids on her own and becoming a citizen in the process, and like the arduous journey of that. And his wife had got a hold of my book, and I was at a city magazine party, 4 or 5 years ago, and I went to take a friend of mine to help her get a job at a TV station, and I didn't want to go because I was about to leave town. I wanted to go do freelance documentary work and film work, maybe go to LA. I had spent some time in Manhattan, maybe go to Austin or New York again, or figure something out, but I didn't want to leave town, and so luckily I met his wife, Bobby Shapiro, who came up to me and we spoke, and then she told me that her husband was looking for a writer. And I told her, well, I'm a writer, and so we met, and right off the bat I see Don with his cool coat you know, having a martini at the place, and we hit it off.
An international man.
Oh, totally, yeah, absolutely.
Well, Valentin, this is an incredibly good book, and you've also shot all the footage for a coming documentary. So, my many congratulations. Fabulous piece of work. Now, coming up, we're going to meet the man, the myth himself. Don Shapiro is going to sit down and give us a few personal tidbits about his amazing story. That's coming up next.